So I'm going to start off this video just by saying this. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a fucking banger. And in all honesty, it might have restored my faith in the MCU after a lackluster Phase 4. Cause this movie, in my opinion, is proof that Marvel can still put out quality products if they just try and actually give a damn about what people want. The smartest decision Marvel and Disney made for this movie was rehiring James Gunn to direct it, cause god damn it, he knocked it out of the park once again. Let's get into the video. Papa Guac. Subscribe. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Guac, Papa Dustin, whatever the hell y'all want to call me, back at you again with another video today. Now, I do want to say ahead of time that there are going to be spoilers for this movie, so if you don't want to hear that, turn the video off right now or come back after you watch it. But just getting into how the movie was. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I do like the characters, but I was never really interested in them. But I always thought they were one of the most consistent groups in the MCU. They always, were consistent. They, had comedy, they had seriousness, but they also had growth and development between the characters, and you get to grow along with them and see this familial bond they develop through all the movies that they're in. You get to see the conflict of certain characters and how they work together as a team, as a family, to overcome these conflicts, and you see it especially in this movie. It all comes together in this movie again. You get to learn the tragic and terrible upbringing of fucking Rocket and what the High Evolutionary did to him and all of his former friends who now are dead. And I kid you not, this tugged at my fucking heartstrings too. It tugged at my heartstrings more than Spider-Man No Way Home did, and as a Spider-Man fan, I can't believe I'm saying that. Granted, I'm gonna be honest here, I already kinda knew Aunt May was gonna die because it's fucking Peter Parker. When does shit ever go right for him? I mean, just look at the terrible state their fucking comics are in right now. But that's a whole nother video. But seeing the tragic upbringing of Rocket, getting to know this mysterious past of Rocket, you always knew it had to be something terrible. I mean, he's a fucking talking raccoon, for Christ's sake. But to actually get to see it, to see how emotional it is, to have someone like Nebula, who was literally turned into a cybernetic robot by Thanos for torture purposes, to her to say it in this movie, to say that this was worse than what Thanos did to her after realizing what Rocket's past was, really just shows you how fucked up it is. But you not only get to see his tragic past, but you also get to learn of his intelligence. You get to see that intelligence side that the High Evolutionary was jealous of. And when you get a smart motherfucker like that jealous of you, you know you are one smart dude. To see the intelligence that allowed him to break out of multiple prisons, that allowed him to escape the clutches of the High Evolutionary, that allowed him to be one of the most dangerous people in the galaxy, it just shows you the different side of Rocket, not just, the violent, wanting to shoot and kill people and fight against armies and steal Anulax batteries. You get to see so many different levels to his character, and I think that was really good. But you also get to see development from other characters, from Nebula, going from Thanos' puppet, being turned into a cyborg, having this hatred for Gamora, to trying to become a sister with her, to losing that sister, and also developing this relationship with the other Guardians, all culminating in this movie to when Rocket is revived, she starts shedding tears. You get to see the more human side of her as it develops throughout this entire franchise. You get to see Mantis step into her own from being a puppet and slave to Ego to being her own person, to the end of the movie where she wanted to go and be on her own to learn what she wanted. To Drax getting to be a father to all those children that the High Evolutionary had in cages to become the perfect race again. To Nebula wanting to lead everyone on Nowhere to be a leader. And then we have Peter Quill going back to Earth to meet his grandfather, the only human family he has left, to go and establish a relationship with him that was established at the beginning of the movie. This man has also lost so many people. He's lost his mother because of his father. He had to kill his own father. He's lost so many friends. He lost the love of his life, Gamora. He lost so much, and getting to go back and connect with that side, to retouch with his past and to fix those old wounds as well. Which honestly gets me excited because hopefully if the MCU does bring in the fucking X-Men, hopefully we can get a little Kitty Pryde and Peter Quill action like they did in the comics. And then finally we have Gamora, or past Gamora, who's now in the future. We see her and Peter Quill. We see Quill desperately try to hold on to this relationship, trying to get something back. We saw him and Gamora's relationship develop organically throughout the few movies, the past movies that they were in. And this Gamora not having lived that life, not having to get that. We see Quill desperately trying to get that love back, but Gamora not having it because it's not her. And you can't just make something like that come back because you talk about how good it was. And it's good to see that it wasn't the case. She goes back with the Ravengers and, they end up going their separate ways. But I think it's for the better. They both get to develop in different ways instead of trying to have this love just shoehorned in once again. These characters prove their usefulness. There's character arcs for each of them. They all have their own independent stories. And then we get to my boy Adam fucking Warlock, who I am finally glad is in the MCU. I wish he was introduced, you know, in like one of the first 3 phases, because let's be real here, the Infinity Saga, Adam Warlock, the fucking Soul Stone, it all makes fucking sense. I mean, after all, this guy is friends with Thanos. Now, I know some people are going to say they dumbed him down and everything like that, and as an Adam Warlock fan, I can see that. He is a little bit more serious in the comics, he's very much more heroic, but they do give an explanation for that. He's basically like a newborn child, as he was released from his cocoon by the High Evolutionary too early. To find out that his people are just another creation of the High Evolutionary, but we get to see the badassery that is Adam Warlock. The fact that he travels, he can whoop the Guardians of the Galaxy's ass, he can hold his own against such powerful threats. To be the cosmic threat that he is, it was awesome to see. And like I said, I wish we would have gotten it earlier. And then we get to my boy, the High Evolutionary. Now I know, I am going to address this right fucking now. I know somebody is going to bring up on here at some point that they race swapped the High Evolutionary because technically he is a white guy in the comics. Now let me say this. I don't give a shit that they race swapped him, because I'm gonna butcher his name. Chudwudi Iwuji, I think that's his name, that's how you pronounce it. If I butchered that, I apologize. But I think he did a great job as the High Evolutionary. I know he's another generic, you know, one-off Marvel villain that's in one movie and they kill him off, which sucks. I mean, you gotta kind of expect that with Marvel at this point. I mean, look what they did to Ultron. Look what they did to Gore the God Butcher. I mean, Gore the God Butcher wasn't even Gore the God Butcher. He was basically just Patrick Bateman without the fucking skincare routines, and he was also a mesotheist. You know, not the badass guy who was going around cursing the gods and killing everybody and had Thor questioning his own reason for godhood. But that's a whole nother video. But despite this, the god complex we see from him, the ability to want to go out and become, you know, to have everybody evolve, to become better, to have this perfect civilization, this counter Earth, I think it was embodied perfectly. I think Chudwudi did an amazing job as the High Evolutionary, even though he is just going to be another one-off villain. He had power. He was able to take on Adam Warlock. He had the Guardians all shaken up. He was able to take them on. He looked like a strong villain. It took them teaming up at the end to take him out, and I think it was really fucking awesome to see. And they didn't just beat him by just straight up power. It was strategy and overcoming him. They didn't make the characters look stupid. They didn't nerf anybody. Everybody looked strong. Everybody was doing their job. This movie had great story. It had emotion. It had comedy where it needed it. It was fucking amazing. And it just got me thinking at the end of it, why can't every Marvel movie be like this? This movie was fucking great. When I walked into this movie, I at least had some expectations. But with the way Marvel movies, the way Phase 4 has been, it just wasn't doing that good. Especially after the failure that was Ant-Man Quantumania, I don't think anybody had any expectations for this movie. But goddamn it, they blew it out of the fucking water. I stood corrected in that movie theater. I almost wanted to give up and give them a goddamn standing ovation because they did that shit masterfully. With the oversaturation that is, you know, superhero movies and TV shows and culture, you know, with everybody kind of being burnt out after it and, you know, losing a lot of the main Avengers that we grew up with since 2008, you know, Marvel had a lot ahead of them, you know, trying to keep this up. And then with Spider-Man No Way Home, it was great. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was pretty fucking lackluster in my opinion, but that's a whole nother video in of itself as well. And then the other Phase 4 movies. Now I have actually made a video on Black Panther. I just haven't uploaded it yet because I actually think that was one of the better ones too, though not as good as No Way Home or this new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But with the way it's been, there's almost no expectations for it. But Guardians of the Galaxy restored my hope that maybe, just maybe, they could possibly do something. This is what we've been wanting. We've been wanting stories. We've been wanting character arcs. We've been wanting the characters some of us have grown up watching, from the OG Guardians of the Galaxies to the new Guardians of the Galaxies. These guys right here. This is what comic book fans have wanted. We've wanted stories. We've wanted good character development. We've wanted something to attach to it. We've been with these characters. We have this connection to them. And they did it really fucking well in this movie. I loved this movie. Obviously, it has its flaws. Every movie does. You could sit here and pick this apart or pick that apart. But overall, I think this movie was good. If I had to rate this movie overall, I'd say maybe an 8.5 or 9. I mean, hell, even the side characters, Kraglin and Cosmo, they had to overcome their own issues, but they were also a help in the final battle against the High Evolutionary. It was totally fucking amazing. Kraglin learning how to use Yondu's arrow, to, you know, having that vision of Yondu and getting the spirit to go ahead and fight against everybody, every one of the High Evolutionary's forces. It was amazing. I definitely recommend you go watch this movie. It is definitely one of the MCU's better, and it's definitely one of the best in the Phase 4. Anyways, that's just another video I wanted to put out for you guys today. Let me know, did you guys go see the movie? Have you not seen it? Do you want to see it? Let me know down in the comments below what you think about it. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say today. More videos coming soon. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.